All right, guys. What we're looking at today is area of different shapes. Now, the main shapes that we have in ACT, some of the ones that we cover, are rectangles, squares, parallelograms, because the area formula for a rectangle, square, and parallelogram are all the exact same. Area is equal to the base times the height. Now, for a square, the base and the height are actually going to be the same length, because it's a square. All four sides are the same. Now, for a rectangle, the base and height lengths will be different, but we still just multiply them together. Now, for a parallelogram, the height is actually going to be the distance from the top to the bottom. The two on the sides are actually called the slant height and are actually not the exact height of the overall figure. Triangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. And for any triangle, a right triangle, the base and height are going to be the two sides that are connected to the right angle. Now, if it's not a right triangle, the height is just the distance from one of the vertices to the opposite side and forms a right angle with it. That would be considered the height of the triangle. And the base will be the side that that length connects to. That would be the base and the height. Our trapezoid, area formula for a trapezoid is we add the two bases together, multiply them by the height, and multiply it all by 1/2. Because the area of a trapezoid is half the measure, or 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height of the figure. And lastly, a kite. And by definition, a kite is a four-sided figure with two sets of congruent sides. Its area are the two diagonals multiplied together divided by 2. And that's it. Because once we have these formulas, we're just plugging in our information and solving from there. So if we look at the first one here, a flyer has a surface area of 88 square inches. If the length of the paper is 11 inches, what is the width in inches? So what are we talking about? A flyer is what? A rectangular sheet of paper. Area. So the overall area is how much? 88 square inches. If the length of the paper is 11 inches, what is the width? Is the width going to be bigger than 88? No. No. So we know that what? E is not going to be it. So what can we do to find the width? Because length times width will give us the area. So we're really just saying what times 11 is 88. That's it. The dimensions of a right triangle are shown below in feet. What is the area of the triangle in square feet? So what's the area formula for a triangle? Now looking at this triangle here, what is the base length? So replace base width, and what's the height? Now we just need to multiply these two together. So we'll do what? 2x times x, which is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 1 times x is, and 1 times 3 is plus 3. Now if we combine like terms, we'll get 2x squared. And 6x plus x is plus. And And lastly, we'll need to multiply everything by. So 1/2 times x squared is, or 1/2 times 2 is 1. So we just have x squared. Well, j and k won't work because j has 2x squared and k is just 6x squared. There's no way that we can combine them, so we're left with the other 3. What's 1/2 times 7x? 3 plus 7/2 is x. That's it. Because it doesn't matter what 1/2 times 3 is, it is going to be 3/2, but we do have the final answer. Questions on this here? In rhombus, k or x, y, z cube below, xz is 10 centimeters and yq is 4 centimeters long. What is the area of this here in square centimeters? So it is actually not a kite, it is a rhombus. And it works out that the area formula for a rhombus is base times height. Because a rhombus is a 4-sided figure with, all sides are congruent. So really we're just multiplying those two lengths together to get this here. It's going to be D because our two measures are 10 and 4. Let's make sure. Yeah. Let's back up just a second. It's actually not that. Let's look at it differently because I was wrong. It's not base times height. Now what do we have here though? What shape is that? Triangle. Now the whole distance is 4, but these are both. So what we actually have is a triangle with a height of base of 10. Yeah, this one here we had to break apart. Area is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. 1/2 of 2 times 10. Well, what's half of 2? Times 10 is. So the area of one of these triangles is? Yep. It is C. Okay. The area of triangle ABC is 36 square centimeters. If the height is 9 centimeters, how long is the base in centimeters? Go on and do this one on your own. Has everybody finished trying to solve this in here? Now there's two different ways we can go about doing it. But either way, we still have what? Area is equal to what? 1/2 times base times height. Now what do we know? We know the area is what? Is equal to 1/2 of the base times . Now, we have different choices for the base, yes? Because one of the ways is we can solve for B and then go from there. Or, I'm just going to grab 6. And C is 1/2 of 6 times 9, 36. Well, what's 1/2 times 6? Half of 6 is, and 3 times 9 is? So H is not correct because 6, half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 9 is 27. Because G and F would give us smaller areas, yes? So it can't be those. So we're left with H or K and J, 8 and 10. Which one do we want to try first? 8. Because half of 8 is 4 times 9 is. So the correct answer is J. Now if we did work this out, 1/2 times 9 is 9/2 or 4.5. At this point here, we can divide both sides by 9/2, or we could have multiplied both sides by 2/9. Now on the calculator, we can say 36 over 9/2 is 8. So the correct answer is 8. A farmer wants to double the area of his rectangular garden. His rectangular 6 by 10 meter garden. The 10 meter length will be increased by 2 meters. By how many meters must the width be increased? So what's the area of our original garden? Base times height, which would be? And he wants to make a new one that has double. So double the area. So what's our new one going to be? 120. The width, the 10 meter length will be increased by 2 meters. So what's our new? It's not 10 meters anymore, it is. And we want to figure out what this other one is. Right? So the correct answer is it is not D. What does the question ask? How many meters would it be increased? So we're going from what, 6 to? So it is. So again, sometimes it's good to pay attention with what it is asking, because the new width would be 10. That is the correct length. We just have to read the question. On a standard XY plane below, one side of the rectangle is on the axis, and the vertices of the opposite side are on the graph of the parabola given by this equation, y equals 7 minus x squared. Let z represent any value of x such that 0 is less than or equal to z is less than or equal to the square root of 7. Which of the following expressions in terms of z represents the area of any such rectangle? Well, what do we have here? We have a rectangle, yes? Yeah. What's the area formula for a rectangle? Quincy, head up. What's the base or height of this? The height is 7 minus z squared, yes? Well, that's z from here to here, yes? Well, what's the distance from here to here? Z and z. How many do I have here? Because we're not having to multiply, we're just adding them together. So this length is z, this length is z, so the whole thing is 2z, and we just need to multiply them together. 2z times 7 is, and it would be positive, yes? Well, and if we did the final multiplication, 2 times negative z squared would be negative 2z. So just doing one part of the multiplication actually gave us the correct answer. So sometimes we don't have to multiply it all the way through. We just need to get it set up and start it. In a certain rectangle, the ratio of the length of two adjacent sides is 4:3. If the area of the rectangle is 192 square centimeters, what is the length in centimeters of the longer side? So we have a rectangle. So we know that the opposite sides of a rectangle are going to be congruent. Now 4:3, all that's saying is that for every 4 centimeters this side has, this side's going to have 3. So if we said that this side was 8, because for every 4 that we add to one, we add 3 to the other. Well, for every group of 4, we can call it 4x, and these here will multiply together to give us what? The area, which is? Because all we're doing is multiplying length by width, base times height. It doesn't matter if we're comparing a rectangle by itself or 2. What 4 times 3 is? X times x is x squared. Now at this point here, we just need to solve. So we can divide both sides by 12. Those will cancel. One 192 divided by 12 is 16. So x is 4. So for both of these here, the value of x is 4. So we have 4 times 4, which is, and 3 times 4, which is. So what's the length of the longer side? Any questions on this here? Head up. The length of a rectangle is 4 times the length of a smaller rectangle. The two rectangles have the same width. The area of the smaller rectangle is x square units. The area of the larger rectangle is yx square units. Which of the following is the value of y? So, and again, with any problem like this here, I say it's always good to draw a shape, draw a way to represent the two figures. So one of the rectangles, the length of a rectangle is 4 times the length of the smaller one. So if we say the smaller one here, length is L, the bigger one is 4 times that amount. And the width for both of these is the same. So what is the area of the smaller? It is just length times width, which would be our x. Now what's the bigger one going to be? 4L times W, which is our yx. The area of the larger triangle is yx, or rectangle is yx. The smaller is just x. So looking at this here, what would the value of y be? What is the difference between these two here? Because we said what? L, length times width is x. So what we can say this length times width is x, and it's being multiplied by 4. So what does y have to be? For a trapezoid, ABCD shown below, AB is 7 inches, CD is 4 inches, and the perimeter is 43 inches. Perimeter again is adding all the side lengths together. What is the area of the trapezoid in square inches? Well, area is equal to what? 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now, what is the height of the figure? Because what's the height from one base to the other? Which one of these sides would be considered the height? AD and BC are the bases. So it's either AB or DC. Which one do we think it is? It is? Yes, DC would be the height because it is not slanted. So we would have the 4 there. Now we still have the 1/2. But we need to find out what the sum of the two bases are, or what the bases are. Did they tell us what the bases were? Well, what did they tell us? 143. So 7, 4, and the sum of these two bases is? So what can we do with that? Because if we subtract 7, 3, carry the 1, 36 minus 4 is 32. Well, what is that telling us? That these two lengths will add together to be? So what's half of 32? And we need to do 16 times 4. Because what's 16 times 2? And 32 times 2 is? Number 10, the area of a trapezoid below is 24 square meters. The altitude is 4 meters, and the length of one base is 2 meters. What is the length x of the other base in meters? Again, so we have our area formula. Area equals 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Well, times right, we can put plus x and solve for it there. And again, if we didn't have answer choices, that'd be a great way to go about this. But we could use these to guess, yes? So which one of these do we think might work to get us So we can pick 8. Now I picked 8 because 8's in the middle. Because if what we get is too small, that means that now this here, we can plug in a calculator. 1/2 of 2 plus 8 times 4 is 20. And we wanted 24, that's too small. So if we try 10, we get 24. But again, since 8 was too small, that means F and G don't work. So by trying one number, we can eliminate 3 or find the correct answer. Because if 8 was the correct answer, that's it. We're done. We move on. Or it's one of the other two. Any questions on this here? Let's look at this one here. In the standard XY coordinate plane, if a triangle has vertices -1, 3, 2, 3, and 2, -4, then what is its area in square coordinate meters? Now looking at this here, does this look like a right triangle? Yeah. I mean, we do have two sides from B to C. This side is going straight up and down, yes? Because the two x values are both 2. So we're just looking at that difference there. Here, 3 to 3. So we need to find this distance and this one here. What is the distance from -1 to 0? What's the distance from 0 to 2? So what is this distance? What is the distance from B to the x-axis? Because we're going from 2, 3 to 0. So what's the distance? And from 0 down here, it is. So the overall distance is? Now what's the area formula? 1/2 the base times the height. Now does it say to approximate this at all? No. Then find its area, yes? Is 3 or 7 divisible by 2? So will we get a nice whole number? The only one that's not a nice number is? Well, what is 3 times 7? And if we divide 21 by 2, questions on this here? The figure below, the area of the larger square is 100 square inches. And the area of the smaller square is 64. So bigger is 100, smaller is 64. What is x in inches? So we want to know this length here. So a square, the length and width of a square are the same. A square, length and width are the same. So the bigger square, this length and this length are the, so if we multiply them together to get 100, what's the only number we can multiply by itself and get 100? So this length is 10, this length is, this one here is also a square, so these two are going to be the same. What times itself is 64? So Cody, what's X? What is 10 minus 8? Yep. We got a few more left. Let's look at this one here. In the figure below, A, E, F, and B are collinear. Collinear means they're on the same line. And the measurements are in inches. The area of the rectangle, A, B, C, D, the whole rectangle, is 52 square inches of the trapezoid. What do we know? So guys, so looking at this here, is there any answer we can eliminate? Yes. Why can we eliminate E? Because if the overall figure is 52 square inches, is there any way the figure inside of it could be bigger? So we're trying to look at C, D, E, F. This is what we're trying to find. So we know that this length here is going to be, now the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Because 7, 4, and 2. And the height is? 17, or 7 plus 13 is?
20. So 80, so it's 40, 80.
Because half of 20 is? 10 times 4 is?
Oh my gosh, the answer is B.
Questions on this here?
Why is there a whole waste of paper?
Yep.
That's like a whole tree. The air.
Well, it doesn't really, because they do use trees to grow, to make paper, but they're also by law required to plant one tree for every tree used in making paper.
Actually, 2 trees per
And they
one.
probably do.
They should just plant trees because trees take way too long to grow. It's really weird smell. They're like shut up. And stop like trees. Yeah. We can just do work online. And pollution is bad. So
Yeah.
we should just shut the whole earth down and like
All right, guys. Let's figure this one out here. In the figure below, BC are on line segment AD, and E and F are on line segment DG. The measurements are given in meters. Both ABFG and BCEF are trapezoids. The area of a trapezoid is given by this formula. What is the area of BCEF?
okay, you just so we get a limit of heat, so it's hot.
1/2 of base 1 plus base 2. What are our two bases?
180 and 120. Oh, yeah.
120 plus 80.
Yep.
And the height is?
100. And then 200. Yeah. And then 100 times 100 is 1,000.
Question 15. Each of the four sides of the dog dish has the shape of a trapezoid as shown. The length of each side the bottom of each side is 15 centimeters. The length of the top of each side is 12 and a half. What is the median of each trapezoid in centimeters? Because the median is the middle. Median means middle. And Haley, do you remember what our formula is? Well, this here we're not looking for area because in chapter 7, geometry chapter 7,
He's on geometry. Oh.
which we actually covered.
Wait, which formula do you want?
The mid-segment of a trapezoid. Mid-segment, because we covered this at the start of this semester.
Square plus b squared equals c squared. Yeah.
Median means middle. Middle.
I don't even think that's right. Oh, no? I can't see that.
Half of base 1 plus base 2. So we know for sure it's going to be in the exact middle of these two. So what do we know it's not going to be? So if we add 12 and a half to 13, or 15, 12 plus 15 is? 27 and a half. Yeah. 13.75. Yeah, no, it is E. All right, guys, you have an exit ticket.